Hi, my name is Amanda Hatker. I am a product manager on the Commerce Cloud Salesforce order management team. And today I'm going to be demoing for you the new features coming to Salesforce order management in the summer 20 release. So we'll get started with our first key feature, which includes support for VAT taxation, also known as gross taxation, in Salesforce order management. So where I am right now, I'm in the Salesforce order management application. I recently placed an order on a Commerce Cloud storefront. And this particular storefront is for a customer who's selling in Europe. So if we drill into this order here, we'll see a couple of different things that are net new in Salesforce order management. Primarily the totals. So the big part about supporting VAT taxation is that we're now able to show totals at both the order header level and the item level that are inclusive of tax. For example, we have our subtotal here that includes tax, our order level adjustment, which are promotions that include tax, and then the shipping total with tax. Additionally, at the line level, we now have our gross unit price, which is the unit price of the items inclusive of tax. If there are any promotions, we now have a field that sums up the tax total there and makes it super easy for a business user or a service agent to see exactly what the customer saw during the checkout experience. So for our customers selling in other regions that are purely a gross taxation mode, it's extremely important that we can provide the summed totals in both our user interface and our API level, which is what this new feature includes. We've also introduced the ability to identify when an order is either net or gross taxation. And this field is actually available not just at the order and the order summary, but trickles down all the way through the fulfillment order and the invoice and credit memo. With that being said, there's a lot of new changes that come to the data model with the introduction of these new fields for VAT taxation, which is pretty exciting. So if we come into our object manager here, I just want to show you a couple of the fields that exist, have been introduced on order summary. And then you'll just have to keep in mind that there's other fields that we've also supported on the original order and the fulfillment order with the introduction of VAT taxation. So for example here, if we drill into our order summary, what we'll see is a couple new things in here. So most notably, you'll see all these new totals that we've introduced. So the adjustments with tax at both the item and the order level. We also have our shipping totals with tax for both the adjustments and the shipping total. And then all of the totals. So the pre-total with tax, the subtotal with tax, our tax locale type. These are all net new fields to the data model that go across the order summary, the fulfillment order, invoices, and credit memo, which makes it possible for us to present this user interface that explicitly shows the VAT taxation field and also makes it easy for our integrators to grab this data directly from our APIs because we now have it exposed natively in the data model. So that's VAT taxation. Pretty exciting here is also in the page builder. So if we were actually to go into this page builder, we've modified our order summary totals component to be dynamic. So when VAT taxation comes into the summer release and you start to get orders that come in with that gross tax locale, you'll notice that you're able to configure this order summaries total component to include the gross taxation fields. When these fields are enabled, and if we see the tax locale is gross, we'll go ahead and dynamically populate those totals based off of the tax policy. So standard for net orders, you see the subtotal, which does not include tax, the order adjustments, which do not include tax, and the shipping that doesn't include tax. But boom, you get a gross order in. We'll dynamically show the totals that you just saw on that order summary screen. So pretty cool, a very wide-reaching change here to being able to show those gross totals. One other thing to know, which is not visually represented here, is our integration with Commerce Cloud will dynamically map in the gross taxation totals and will dynamically map in that tax locale value of gross if we receive it on the Commerce Cloud order. So pretty big change here that we're super excited about. We know will help enable other regions, specifically Europe, and also other areas of APAC as we start to expand our footprint. Additionally, with this release, we've fully enabled support for MultiCurrency. So if you are already very familiar with the Salesforce core platform, you probably know there's a setting to enable MultiCurrency in the org. We had to make some enhancements to our Lightning components on the order summary page and our integration with Commerce Cloud to make this fully productized. So now if you go into your org, you enable multi-currency, you drag in the currencies you want to support, our integration will be able to correctly map in the currency information and then correctly show it on our order summary screens, which is a net new feature. And that's across the order summary items and the order payment summary and the fulfillment orders. So big enhancements to support our international expansion with the support of VAT taxation and multi-currency. Thanks, and I hope you guys all get to start playing with the features soon.